Let's get this Samsung Galaxy Ace back to Android 2.3.7. Now this Samsung is running Android 4.4.4, which is the latest ported version to this device, but the issue is that this port wasn't really possible, but it exists, and the issue is that this phone has an ARM v6 CPU, which isn't really designed for this version of Android. Google officially killed support for ARM v6 in this CPU, and that means that even though this is a newer version of Android, you aren't taking advantage of any app compatibility features. Like, check this out. This is a version of Discord that should work on this version of Android, and it will crash, same as the web browser. This device is really underpowered, so running Android 4.4.4 isn't a good idea. So let's try to get this device back to Android 2.3.7. Let's get it rooted. Let's try to get some basic web browsing done, like with viewing videos with BitView, trying to chat on IRC, maybe trying an unofficial Discord client that maybe should work, and try to get some emulators running. So I've got an unofficial ROM based on Cyanogen 7.2, which is Android 2.3.7, downloaded. Not a lot of ROMs from that era were archived, because it's like 2011, 2013. But I found one that I don't think it should come with Google services, but it may come because I saw original Play Market on screenshots, but we will see. Okay, so let's reboot to recovery. Okay, I'm in Clockworks recovery. I'm using a bit of a newer version of Clockworks than what's recommended for older Androids, but I don't know, maybe it will work. Only one way to find out. I will wipe data. Wipe all user data, yes. Okay, data wipe complete. Now let's install the zip. Yes, choose from the SD card. Okay, we will start with this. This is the actual ROM. Install. Hopefully I won't break this device like I did a few years ago. Okay, install from SD card completed. Now let's root this. I hope this version is compatible with such an old version of Android. We will see. I think it should work. I don't think the SuperSU would remove. Okay, it allegedly succeeded. I will wipe the cache partition just to be sure. Yes, wipe cache. Okay, now we can reboot the system. and hopefully it will boot up and I didn't break this device again. Oh, something is displaying. Android. That seems promising. Oh, that looks so early 2010s. Okay, let's see if this boots up. Oh, and it booted up. Okay, so that's not really vanilla from what I can see. Oh, yeah, and we are definitely back on 2.3.7. This device originally came with 2.3.6, but I guess that minor update won't do much. Okay, I will maybe connect a charger now, because battery life of this phone is like really terrible. Okay, we are back on this old version of Android. It runs so much faster than 4.4.4. Okay, how do I go to the settings? Oh, okay, the web browser launches at least. Settings, about phone, and yeah, we are on 2.3.7. Here is the Easter egg. Okay. Do we have SuperSU installed by default? Yeah, that's the new version. Start. Okay, yeah, we are definitely rooted. Okay, I will do a setup for this and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got some applications running. Here is Android IRC, which is an IRC client. Well, running IRC on an old device is not anything surprising, considering it's an old protocol that hasn't really changed, but it's still cool that you can do some chatting on such an old phone. So, web browsing is really terrible on this. I tried a VIA browser, but it couldn't even beat View. I tried Opera Mini. It also didn't work. And Firefox, which is, from what I've heard, the most compatible web browser for this phone. Well, it can't run on this CPU because it's an ARM v6 and Firefox requires ARM v7. So that's problematic. And one thing that I found is Juice SSH. It is an SSH client which still works on this version of Android. I had to download an older version, of course, but you know, it's still pretty cool that you can do some admin stuff on such an old version of Android. I'm SSH'd into my PC right now. I will try to do a screen fetch. Oh, I mean fast fetch. It's really confusing. Fast fetch. It's really hard to type, but it's worse than my main phone, but it's kinda not that terrible. Yeah, here is the fast fetch. Yeah, it's impressive that there is still a SSH client for this version of Android. Imagine like administrating your server from such an old phone. Okay. So, from the gaming side, mm, I tried some emulators, which you can see here. I can't mention names of games and what company released the console because mm, because rules, but I did emulation of 90s, 19s and 80s hardware, and it works really nice. Emulating a certain 64-bit console with 3D from 1996 didn't work so great, it crashed, but that's kinda to be expected. So, I will maybe show Angry Birds, which is I downloaded the latest version of the classic release. Yeah, these old phones have some problems. This is a classic version of Angry Birds that will run on this Android version. It takes some time to start up, but you know, it's an old and slow phone. That's to be expected. Let's let this start up. And yeah, it's playable, by the way. And it kinda looks good on such a small screen, which is surprising. I expected it to be much worse. Let's go to the next level. Yeah. I mean, it's an old game, it's an Android classic, it's one of the first Android games. So... Oh, I did the level with one shot. Oh, it's not all? Oh, 3 stars. I didn't expect it. Yeah, I guess there are some other old games that will run, but I didn't bother testing it. You can try this yourself if you have an older Android 2.3.6 or 2.3.7 phone, I guess. Oops. Yeah, that will be a 1 star. Yeah. Let's quit. Okay. I didn't bother testing email, but I kinda expect it to work, assuming we don't use encryption. Out of curiosity, I tried to use the Torch app, but yeah, the Torch app will crash. That's weird, and it will show this message twice. I mean, there isn't anything much to do on this phone. Android 2.3.7 is really old. It's not really supported by the community, but I guess it's fun to try this. It's interesting to see how this old technology holds up today. one thing that I'm curious about is to see if the Titanic OSU server website will load up. Okay, let's see. No. Let's focus. Oh, it it surprisingly loads in the default browser, which is very surprising. I mean, it's a website designed to load in all the web browsers, but still. Okay, I will also test alt.ppy.sh because that was created alongside old OSU when these devices were common. Yeah, we have some SSL errors, but the website loads and we can read the game chat. I think you could even interact with the chat on OSU because they have an IRC bridge still. And yeah, you can see people playing farm maps here. That's terrible. But yeah, I guess that's it for today. Let me know what do you want to see running on this phone. And yeah, see you next time.